Hello and welcome back to Vigna Star's Mystical Musings. As promised last week, I am going to go over energy work. One thing that I need to point out is that energy work is an experiential thing. Teaching it online through words or through images is really, really hard. And unfortunately, I do not have the editing skills to add a glowing imagery to show you what I'm doing with energy in this video. So I really need you to use your imagination and try these things. You're going to fail. That's okay. You will learn a lot from your failures. The important thing is that you try and you make note of what you experience when trying. In the realm of energy work, the very first thing I will get you to do is ground. Now there are many, many, many ways to do this, and you're more than welcome to try other ways. You're also more than welcome to try and ground into other elements. The earth just tends to be the most common because it's the most accessible and easy. So what I want you to do is I want you to stand nice and tall, feet flat on the ground, and you are going to raise your hands over your head. I'm going to try and back up and see if we can do this. There we go. So now just start breathing in and out. Nice and slow. As you breathe out, I want you to start slowly moving your arms down towards your sides. And as you're moving your arms down, visualize and feel that you're pushing your energy from the top of your head right down and out your feet. Use your arms like a lever to push all that energy. Feel it sinking into the ground. Feel it going nice and deep. When you're doing this, you really need to visualize and find some visualization that works for you. A lot of people use tree roots. I personally prefer a stalactite coming out of the bottom of my feet, or if I'm seating, out of my tailbone. And I use a puce color, a grungy green, yellow color that you would expect to find in a cave formation as the color of my stalactite that's going into the ground. You will find that color influences a lot of things, and it gets brought up a lot in a great deal of things, not just from spells, but also in meditations. And anytime you want to work on anything, really. I will get into more about color when I go and do a video on meditation. Let's get back to grounding. So you've established your ground. You feel rooted. You feel firm. You probably find that now your center of gravity has gone from here all the way down into your groin. Or even better, into your knees. This is normal. This is good. If you can manage that, hello Cosmo. If you can manage that, that is great. But we've only done about half the work now. You've established your ground. You can feel all the way down. You've pushed your energy out into the ground to the point where the farthest point where it connects with the ground. Great. Wonderful. Now, pull energy up from the ground and just start a cycle. What goes down through you, you then pull clean energy up through the earth, back into you. And keep the cycle up until you feel clean. You don't feel resentful. You don't feel angry. You don't feel energized, except in a most primal sense. grounding? Grounding is not simply the act of putting feelers into the ground, but it's the give and take. It's the cycle of energy, and it is a fantastic source of energy when you want to do spell work. It also means that you are grounded, and by grounded, I mean that you are solid in where you are. Being grounded isn't just a metaphysical thing. It's not just a magic thing. It also, you'll find it in martial arts. And if you are a martial artist or you want to look into martial arts, I highly recommend it because you will find a lot of crossover between martial arts and magic. Okay, I know Cosmo really wants me to keep loving on him, but we're done here. So give me half a second. I will pause and I will be back to talk to you some more. And we're back. So I don't have any useful body movements for centering, which is our next step. Where ground is an external anchor, centering is an internal anchor. And when you center, you are looking for a still point in your body. Typically, it will be along the center line, from the crown of your head all the way down to your groin. This is not a hard and fast rule. You might find your center in the small pinky of your left foot. You might find your center in your left earlobe. You might find your center in your right shoulder blade. It doesn't matter where you find it. It just matters that you find it. You will know you've found your center when you find a spot that is absolute peace. There's no emotions to it. There's no charge to it. There's nothing but stillness and peace. If you're feeling happy when you find your center, you have not found your center. Your center doesn't feel happy. It simply is. So, what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes and I want you to look inside yourself with your mental and psychic eyes, as it were. I want you to search for that center point, that feeling of absolute peace and stillness. When you find it, what you're going to do is you're going to mentally grab onto it, and then you're going to grow it so that it encompasses your entire being. It fills you up, and there is just stillness. Don't worry if you have any thoughts flitting through. That's okay. This is not an empty mind meditation. That's a completely different thing. What you're looking for is to bring that sense of peace and bring yourself outside of any emotional attachments, any concerns, any worries. And you're just going to give yourself that perspective. So your ground anchors you to the world outside. Your center anchors you to the core being of yourself, the part of you that is outside of the current human experience. It simply exists. It's existed from the beginning of time and it will exist till the end of time. When you have these 2 points together, you give yourself a peace of mind. No, that's not a good enough term for what I'm trying to describe. You give yourself a sense of, what's the word I'm looking for? You give yourself perspective. When you use these 2 points, when you bring them together in the action of grounding and centering as a complete exercise, you will take yourself outside of whatever's going on and you will be able to analyze it critically. Do not think I'm against emotions. Emotions are wonderful. Emotions are part of the human experience. You're not a Vulcan. You are a human. And it is okay to feel emotions. You're not going to get rid of emotions by centering. All you're going to do is give yourself breathing space to evaluate and then decide how to deal with things. That's it. That's all you're accomplishing. It's not a big deal. Really, really not. And you can do it as many times in as many situations as you deem necessary. I do not expect you to be grounded and centered all the time. Not when you're starting out. As you progress, you will find grounding and centering becomes an instinctual thing. And more often than not, you will be grounded and centered. And it will just be more a case of refreshing that attachment rather than reestablishing it over and over again. So that's 2 steps. And they're 2 very important steps because what comes next needs both of them. And what comes next is shielding. Shielding is, if you are a geek like me and you've watched your Star Trek, then you've seen the shield that goes up around the Enterprise and it flickers and glows when the photons hit it. That's a shield. That's essentially exactly what we're going to do. We're going to create a shield about you, and it's going to intercept anything that's coming your way. Be that energies, bad thoughts, random spikies, as I call them, which is people being emotionally charged and conveying that emotional charge to a space. A very good example of that was in my town. We had the B&E market. The B&E market was called such because it was broken into 10 times in the space of 4 months. That particular corner had the worst energy you can imagine. It was horrific. You'd walk through there and it was just gross. It was a visceral feeling of ick because all the problems, all the negative attitudes, all the fears and the woes of people who worked in and who owned that market and the apartments around it all coalesced because they kept putting energy into it, and it did affect that area. You can deal with that, but that's another energy work thing for another time. What we're going to focus on right now is making sure that these things don't affect you because you have a shield up. So before you shield, hello, Lucy. I see. Excuse me a moment, people. Come here. Come here. Okay. All right. This is Lucy. She's very helpful. So what you're going to do is you are going to ground and you are going to center. The reason you want to do this before you shield is think of a house. If you build a house, just slap up 4 walls and a roof on quicksand, it's not going to last very long. So your ground is your foundation. Your center are your stud beams. And then your shield is going to be all the siding and roof. So, ground, find that point, get your energy into the ground, bring it back up. Center, find the still point. Use that to completely fill yourself, including down into your ground. Okay? Now that you've done that, we're going to make some energy. An easy way to do energy is friction. Friction is a type of energy. So make energy. Rub your hands together, make energy. Nice and vigorous. There we go. Okay. Now, start bouncing your hands. Feel the energy that you've built up in your hands. Okay? Just keep bouncing. Keep bouncing. As you're bouncing, add more energy. As you're bouncing, grow it. Make it bigger until it's big enough to encompass your being. This is just one method of creating your shield. You want to grow your energy ball or your globe or your egg or whatever you choose to make until it completely surrounds you. It needs to go over your head and needs to be under your feet. If there's any holes in this, it's going to be completely useless. So make sure that you are completely covered. You can another method of creating a shield is you can actually just find that a center point in your body where you feel comfortable, build the energy in the center point, and then expand the energy out around you. As you get familiar with shielding techniques, you will find your own technique. And I absolutely encourage you to, because the more sense it makes to you, the stronger it's going to be. So now that you've covered yourself, feel the connection from your shield to your ground and from your shield to your center. It's all connected. And I want you to understand that a shield is not simply up or down. Your shield is your psychic thermostat. You can move it up, make it thicker, or move it down and make it thinner, depending on your comfort level. That's the big thing. As long as it keeps you comfortable, it's doing its job. If it's not doing its job, if you're not comfortable, reevaluate what you're doing. Double check your ground, double check your center, mentally look over your shield. Is there any holes or weaknesses? If there are, you've got to fix them up. Do you start over? Starting over is always an option. There's no reason not to. Is it something that you can simply patch up for the time being until you can get yourself out of a situation? That's also an option. So let's review. We talked about grounding, which is finding a stable point outside yourself. We've talked about centering, which is finding the stable point inside yourself. And then both of these are connected and used to build your shield on. So take these ideas and go try them. Try and do your best. If it fails, that's okay. You can always try again, and you can examine your failures for what went wrong. So, until next time, have fun with that, and best of luck. I'll talk to you later. Bye.